Hey everyone. Tonight I am going to be talking about our investigation that we did with 13th podcast. And we're going to be talking about the location that we investigated, which was Whiteys Bar. All right. So 13th podcast is here with me, and I'm going to let him kind of introduce himself and tell everybody what he does.
How's it going, guys? I'm Andrew. I'm the co-owner of the 13th podcast. The other owner is at work, unfortunately. Our podcast is about everything paranormal, anything unexplainable, extraterrestrial, Bigfoot, all folklore. We love it all. Here lately, we've been going into the investigation side of the paranormal, and that's why we tagged along last week with Mandy and the Ghost Sisters.
And what did you think about that location?
Honestly, I went in there with a lot of high hopes, with a lot of energy. Unfortunately, I think there was too many disturbances for anything to happen. You know, with the owners and everything being there, they were having a party, unfortunately. But from what we reviewed, we captured some things on recordings. But other than that, it was a good experience for us. It was a good thing for the 13th podcast to get out there and do with you guys, and that was amazing.
Yes, and was it Art? I think Arthur. He actually kept saying that he was seeing something.
Yeah. He kept seeing at one point. So at one point, you had described something in the winery about seeing a man with a fedora on.
Oh
What
yes,
was
yeah.
crazy about that was Arthur had said that he was seeing something of a tall man up on the third floor with a fedora on. But this was maybe an hour before we even got into that. And I didn't think about it until we started going through some of the footage and the recordings that we had done. And I was like, dude, you had the same vision.
He never did. He tell me this prior. I remember
Probably
he
not.
said. I
His
thought he.
brain hits 50 different points in 1 minute. So,
Oh, I'm like that too. So I totally get it. I'm all over the place. But it's very weird because he I thought he was saying he kept seeing a shadow down in the basement, but
yeah.
he never described it. He just said it was a dark shadow, and he thought it was a man.
Yeah, in the basement, and then that point upstairs on the first floor at the end of the investigation where he did the little jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He said he's seen a tall man um, in the doorway of the bathroom.
Yep, where he scared the crap out of me.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know what, looking back, because when you're investigating, you never know what you're going to get. It's kind of like fishing.
yeah,
It could be little snags here and there, or you're going to get something that could be big. You just don't know. And
right.
I actually, even though we didn't get a lot of responses with the equipment, looking back, we actually did pretty good because what was coming through the ink box, and for those who don't
Yeah,
know what the ink box is, it's a spirit box. And there was some really intelligent spirits coming through that ink box.
yeah,
And the names, they were calling out the names. When I did my isolation in the basement, I don't know if you've seen that video I posted, but they were soon as I turned on the ink box and I was like, hey, everyone, I'm like, so where you at? And a female comes through and she says, right behind you. And I said, what?
oh,
You're right behind me? And this one guy goes, yes. And then one said, standing right there or something like that. But it was
right,
like three things that Matt was matching up to what I was saying.
right. Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was
We had the
crazy.
same incident with the Estes method.
Yeah, definitely. We have a comment here. Okay, Paranormal Seekers. Hey, everybody. Yeah, guys, if you're not already, go over and follow Paranormal Seekers. They're also from our hometown, Marion, Ohio. Every investigation is different. Yes.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
visiting the same location, you can get absolutely nothing. Yeah, yeah. Or you can get something crazy.
yeah. Not JV. Britt had actually said that there was many instances when he was filming with ghost hunters that they went to investigations and they would see nothing, hear nothing, but as soon as they looked at the equipment, you heard and seen everything.
Well, like I said, looking back, we had some really intelligent responses that was
Yeah,
coming through that ink box. And we only had the cat ball light up one time.
on the
And
board. Yeah,
don't forget about the knocks.
yeah, yeah.
You're forgetting about the knocks. That was very significant. Spirits were not playing around. They were being very choosy on what they wanted us to hear.
Yeah,
That's just the way it is. I had
and
investigated there twice, and they,
yeah,
you know,
and Britt had said even at one point, who's Paranormal Reality TV, who's on your shirt right now.
yeah, I'll support in their shirt,
He,
everyone.
he had said that the spirits don't care what you have to say. They're not going to answer on your command. They're going to answer when they want to. So
Yes.
I got a lot of that during the investigation. But during we were up on the third floor. The owner and Arthur were walking to the back of the third floor with the ink box. I had sat down and done a burst EVP session,
Mhm.
and I couldn't hear it at the time. I was trying to review it while they were doing what they were doing after my burst, and I thought I had heard something. Well, me and Arthur reviewed the EVPs when 2 or 3 days later, and you can hear it very. It wasn't faint, but you could tell it was something abnormal. I had asked, "Why are you still here?" As I'm finishing that sentence, after like under the here, it said, "I can't get out."
Oh,
We had the
whoa.
EVP on the podcast last night because we filmed our podcast last night talking about the investigation, and you couldn't hear it on the podcast. So I'll have to have Arthur send that over to you because we got two, but that one right there was like, oh, that was a direct answer to my question.
Now, Andrew, you just said about 10 minutes ago you felt like you didn't get a whole lot of stuff. And I
Just
am
a
here.
little bit for me.
I'm going to have to keep refreshing your memory here because I recall when you did your isolation upstairs in the attic, you that you kept getting, I think you were getting intelligent responses coming through.
In the
I rem-
isolation,
yeah, yeah. You kept connecting with a Daniel. And I kept hearing Mike when you did the Estes method.
so when we did the Estes method, I think me and Mike were becoming best friends.
Yes.
Because we were getting them in the winery and we were getting them next to the cistern or the well down in the basement.
Yes.
But upstairs, I remember the Daniel, but
Mhm.
other than that, I didn't feel like a shift of. I didn't feel any different, like a different kind of atmosphere or anything. There was a couple responses I had gotten up there, but it wasn't a lot for me. That I remember because I remember I was like, okay, I think I'm done up here because it wasn't. I didn't have a scared feeling up there, which I guess some people will and won't have
Uh-huh.
a scared feeling. But again, that third floor was dark. It was creepy and it was dark.
Yes. And it just depends. Again, spirits are going to choose what they're going to give you. So
Yeah,
I think, again, for not having them communicate through lots of our equipment, I
yeah,
think it was pretty interesting. It really was. And, the intelligent responses we were getting when you were doing the Estes method, because you did it in the winery and you also did it downstairs in the basement.
right.
And you were getting all kinds of different things. And some of the questions that we were asking, some of it did line up. some.
Right. Yeah,
But
and when Arthur did his Estes method, a lot of it lined up with the winery
yes, it was starting to get really crazy with the things
and
that we
personal.
were, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, and right before we even went live, I had seen, I know I saw spirit in that window.
yeah,
Remember, I had you go outside and you stood outside that window for me. And
yeah. You can't even. There was a platform in front of the window, and you can't even stand on it. So for you to have seen that figure the way you did, something
Mhm.
had to have been floating.
It was, and it was at the bar. So spirit was right there behind it, actual back there where the bar is. I just remember it was kind of way up high.
Mhm.
So I was like, what the heck am I seeing right now? It looked like someone bent over and they had it kind of looked like a reddish hoodie and they bent over and I remember seeing the hoodie go this way because they were bending over.
Right.
And I was like, what the hell is this? And it was not coming from outside. It couldn't have been.
No.
You it was just weird. So, and like I said, I've investigated this place before in the past, and we actually have gotten a lot of good stuff with our equipment. But you just never know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But I was wondering too, did you guys go back to hear the knocks?
Um, I'm not sure if he had went back through it yet.
Hmm.
Um, but with the knocking thing, I want to believe that it was responding to me. 75% of me believes it was the owner just trying to get us to leave. To be
You
honest,
think?
I
You think
it
that?
was so coincidental for him to come out that same way as soon as I knocked. Because you got to think, I have never heard knocking that loud after trying to get something to mimic it. Because that was louder than the knocks that I had gave.
Hmm.
And that's why I was like, "Oh, this is weird." If he wouldn't have came down the way he did and then said, "No, that wasn't me," or anything like that, then I would have been like, "All right, this is weird." But he came down like literally right after it happened, and he had I don't know. I read people
It
differently, uh, but again, it's unexplainable at this point.
we won't know for sure because of the
Yeah,
fact that he had came down shortly, right, literally after this all happened.
yeah,
But he was spooked. He was really
yeah,
spooked because
yeah,
when Arthur seen that man standing in the doorway, that really spooked the owner. He was really
yeah,
spooked. And
yeah,
I was there last night, and so yeah, we were talking about the knocks that we got and stuff, but he did not, he didn't let off like it was him. But
right,
I can understand it's one of those things that we won't really know if it was spirit or someone else.
right. Right.
So
If it was spirit, that was a strong that spirit had a lot of energy and it was ready to come out at the time we was leaving.
this place has a lot of
Yeah.
history there. It does take a lot of energy for spirits, to communicate like that. Now, I've actually had them knock back on command. So lots of
Yeah.
times, you know, but I get it because that was really loud.
Oh
But you
yeah.
want to know, it almost sounded like it was coming from the same room we were in, though, looking back.
Yeah, like the wall right behind me, which
Yeah.
which right there where I was knocking is the
Basement.
stairs to the basement. Yeah.
So he wouldn't have been coming from the basement. He was coming from the other side, right?
Well, he came in from the winery door, which is where the basement was.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. That's why I was like, why wouldn't he have came from the same stairs that he's been coming down all night? Why do you all of a sudden go around? I mean, to stay out of the investigation, and not interrupt us, that would make sense. But I still have that skepticism in my brain. And I'm not a skeptic to the paranormal at all. That's Arthur.
Well,
He tried to say that
well,
last night that I was the same as him. No, I believe in the paranormal 100%.
well, it's good to try to debunk things anyway
Right.
when you're hearing those things, and which we did with him. He said he thought it was the birds down in the basement hitting the wall.
There's no way unless they were hitting themselves like the Conjuring movie where they're just smacking into the house. I don't know. It definitely. I'd like to go back eventually, but I'd like to go back where nobody else was in there with us, so we didn't have any kind of interruption. Because, like I said, they were having a welcome home party and they were drinking and having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of the audio that we were, a lot of the EVP sessions that I did upstairs, I was like, dude, did you hear them footsteps? And it ended up being, hey guys, it's me. I'm like, dang it.
That is the thing when you do these investigations. It's always, it can be hard because sometimes the owners are there,
Yeah.
sometimes they're not. Sometimes you get to be completely alone, but not always. But we'll just have to bring you guys out again on an investigation. We do have
you're
a
100% down.
we have a lot. I
I've
don't want to.
I've been keeping up.
I don't. I don't want to say I just had a bunch more laying on my lap. That's going to blow everybody's mind in my hometown. I've got let me see, 3, and it's just mind blowing to me what has
other
just
than the
landed.
ones you've already talked about, like the sanitarium and stuff.
No, these are more. This is more.
Really?
Yeah.
Not really. You guys are going to go live with the sanitarium, right?
We're going live with all of it. Every investigation.
We really want to see the sanitarium. That place is huge, and my whole family, which I didn't know at the time until like a week before we went on this investigation. I was talking to my uncle. I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Marion, Ohio, and I'm doing a ghost investigation." He's like, we're all from Marion, Ohio, right?" And it's like him, his mom, and like his 7 or 8 siblings are all from Marion, Ohio. Grew up in Marion, Ohio. I didn't know that that's where my family was from. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, Ohio is haunted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, paranormal seekers. That is very true.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I do want to say that I don't want to give too much away what I know is coming up for us. But if you are get a chance, if you want to be the first to know the inside scoop of what we got going on, go subscribe to us on Facebook. We're getting a lot of subscribers over there, and they are the ones that I'm giving the info. They're getting the stuff first, so they kind of already know some of the things. But yeah, so yeah, lots of new investigations. I will have to invite you guys on another one where I know that we'll be isolated and no one will be there with us.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, we're looking around here. There's just not much. You got Post Town, which is completely booked for the year. I just seen that. Other than that, we don't really know much more here. I know last night we were going live with we go on Omegle and broadcast our stuff just to get more followers that way as well. And we connect with a lot of people. I connected with somebody out of Hartford or Hartfield yesterday, Indiana, who knows all about the Rhodes Hotel and wanted to get on the podcast and tell us their experience. So I'm waiting for a reply back from them. But where was I going with it? I was going somewhere with it. I forget.
Was you invited to Rhodes Hotel or something, or wanting to go there?
No, that would be awesome. Oh, we had somebody ask us if we were doing graveyards, and that is something that I want to do. Arthur wants to do it only in the daytime because he's afraid of the law and illegalness. And I'm like,
he should be.
You just tell the cops that you work second shift, and that's the only time you can visit grandma. All right.
Yeah, you got to be careful because, I worked like I said, I worked in law enforcement for 8 years, and even though I worked in law enforcement, I was investigating or started to investigate a house that had just an old church that had just burnt down in our hometown, and they had it taped off and stuff, and me and my researcher at the time was over there. It was during the day. And I just brought a couple things and I went live. I took some pictures. It was real quick. And oh my gosh, did the lady that owned that location freaking called the cops And it's so funny because the deputy comes to my door. He's like, I'm so sorry, Mandy, because he knew me.
Yeah.
And he felt bad that he had to tell me that she wanted to press charges on me being there. Someone had either she seen me when she went by.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was something like that. But I can tell you this much. It was funny because, yeah, me and my researcher had to go. We went to the courthouse and they just tore up the ticket. They said, "Get out of here." That's what
Right.
they. But I knew the bailiff and them, so they're
Oh,
like, "What
okay.
are you doing here?" So, but my situation would be totally different than someone else. I think because
Right.
working in law enforcement, I knew these people, so I learned my lesson. I will never go where there's trespassing signs. No, because
Right.
people can press charges on you.
Oh yeah.
So you're risking it if you do. Um, but anyway, I wanted to say too, are you guys going to start getting into the doing paranormal investigations? Are you going to do podcasting and paranormal investigations, or just every now
So
and then doing?
the we're podcasting and doing investigations. So the investigations will be posted on our YouTube, which is called the 13th Paranormal, and then we'll still be doing the podcast, going over that and going over everything else that we go over there on the podcast at the 13th podcast. Um, before I had came onto the 13th podcast, they were just talking about spooky things. I brought the paranormal in because it's just something I had always been interested in. So there's so much inspiration from Ghost Brothers, Ghost Sisters, Paranormal Reality TV, just watching all you guys do it. And I had always wanted to do something that I had passion for, and I always wanted to give like answer questions for people, because Hollywood, you can't really do that. Hollywood's in it for the money, we're in it for the answers, and like Arthur says, to prove him wrong that this stuff is real. So I had suggested, hey man, let's get into paranormal. Like at the time, we wasn't considering extraterrestrial and Bigfoot paranormal, but it's all paranormal, right? But I wanted the ghost hunting because it's an adventure, and that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
in it for. The adventure, the spookiness, and I want scared. That's
Oh
why I was like,
my!
yeah, I'll take the isolation. Give me
You
that
were
isolation on the third floor. Give me it in the basement.
you
Just
were
wish
all
I
about
would've
it.
gotten the EVP. I wish I would have had the EVP out with the sister and in an isolation downstairs.
You could have.
I,
I
I
just
I didn't think about it until we left. I was like, you know what I wish I would have done, dude? He's like, that would have been a good idea. But yeah, we've been coming up with ideas of doing stuff that we haven't actually seen from a paranormal aspect. I had one, and it's a crazy idea, and last night he wanted me to disclose it, and I was like, I don't want to do it yet. I want to make sure everything's set in stone and make sure it's legal before I'm like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. But you know, you see everybody do these haunted houses, these just big abandoned buildings and stuff. I want to take it outdoors, but I want to take it outdoors where people haven't taken it yet.
hmm.
You know, and I'm not too big on the outdoor stuff because there's so many things that can animals, wildlife, anything can corrupt your data or whatever. But I want to take it to the river.
Water is a conductor for spirit. So
I want to take it to the river because there's so much that happens, especially down here in where I'm at, which is Middletown in the Great Miami River. I know of multiple deaths there, multiple car crashes into the river. So, just to get answers out there or get something out there, be the first investigation group to do it, that just be, I don't know, that's something I want to do.
yeah.
I'm outdoors, I hunt, I fish. Arthur's a fisher as well. But like I said, the paranormal is becoming a passion for him as it is for me. And that's
Hmm.
why we were so grateful that you guys invited us along with you in Marion, Ohio. So yeah, we plan on doing many investigations from here on out. We're getting our equipment slowly but surely.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're just taking advice and tips from you guys and everybody else that we talked to. I mean, you was our first actual interview for the paranormal.
Hmm.
uh, and you ended up being our first group to investigate with as well.
Yeah. And, I was sitting here thinking, you're saying that Arthur is like, needs to see something or really experience something. Now, don't make me take y'all to the shrine
I want it.
because you will experience something that might just scare the hell out of you.
I want the
So,
shrine.
a lot of people want the shrine. But yeah, again, and you just never know what you're going to experience.
Right.
I like to go to the places that no one's been in, be the first one in there, and
Right.
I love the free locations too. The free's always good if you can get in.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I'm willing to pay too.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah. I've given so much
in a month
money.
or two. Yeah, in about a month, I'll be at the place where I can be like, man, we're going. I don't care how much it costs. You know.
Listen, it gets expensive. So, and being such a small team,
Oh yeah.
like us girls, my sister Bobby Joe, she can't go with me all the time. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm lucky to get her once a month, because she works a crazy schedule.
You're right.
But, you could go live like we do if we're doing a big prison or asylum or something, and then we need help. We go on live and get people to join us and get
Yeah.
like 10 or 11 people to cover that $1,000.
Yeah, that's
So, and
insane.
people, yeah, get ready, because some of
Yeah.
these locations you have to put 1,000 down just to even book that spot,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
at least half of it depending where you go.
Yeah. I was surprised that Old Licking County wasn't as high as most of the other jails and prisons around there.
We when
Really?
I when I filmed with Ghost Brothers, we
Mhm.
also did a reenactment with those guys. And my sister Bobby Joe and another girl that was on my team, we actually went to Lincoln County and did the reenactment there. And we got to do a little bit of investigating there. And spirits were all over me. I'm
Yeah.
like, this person here. The guy literally said to me, the guy that actually runs the place, he's one of the caretakers, and he's like, I want you to walk through here and I want you to tell me which cell this guy was in, or I can't remember. It was something like that. And soon as I started walking and I said, the cell right here. And that guy, he's like, you're right. That was the cell. I think
Yeah.
someone had done something horrible to themselves in that cell. And it's not like a huge place, but there's a lot of energy there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've heard many stories of Licking County.
Yeah. Jim, it's funny you say that. Alcohol, that could be they say it can be, when you're drinking and stuff, you're more vulnerable to spirit. So, depending on what type of spirit is around, they will take advantage of someone who's been drinking. So, yeah. So
Makes
that's,
sense.
you want to be careful with that one. I would not go investigating if I was drinking, because spirits will take, like I said, they take advantage of you. So definitely want to be careful. But anyway, what was Arthur's thought on what he experienced? He seemed to have had a lot of
He loved
uh,
it.
j- jumpy moments.
Yeah. He absolutely loved it. And that's what he was wanting. He's wanting that scare factor. He wanted to be proven wrong. He still says that I'm still a skeptic to this and that. Now that guy will get off camera and be like, "Bro, I was scared." I'm like, "No, you can't do that off camera. To get on there and tell these people that you was actually scared, man."
Yeah, be honest. It's all
You
it's
know.
all good.
Um. So yeah, he was very grateful for going out and being invited as well. Again, we went in there with high hopes. Unfortunately, the spirits were not in high hopes that night. We got some, and we got to witness something we haven't witnessed before, and
Yeah.
that's what Arthur was pleased with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
again, I want him to get touched.
His time will come.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And but you just never know when they're going to reach out and touch you or something. But
Right.
if he would do an isolation because he's scared, oh, they will be all over him.
I tried to get him to do it. I was like, dude, go to the elevators and do an isolation. I'm not doing it.
They will feed off of that fear.
Oh yeah. Let's take him to a
So,
shrine. Leave him
that
at the
might
table.
be, the shrine is a very unique place. If you watched this with Paranormal Reality TV.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That's
I was
great.
at work and I was like, I'm gonna dip out for a quick minute, guys. I was like 45 minutes, and I'm like, I'm too far into this to turn it off now. So I just like put it in my back pocket while I was still on listening. And then I'd go to my station and just set the phone up and work and look. I'm like, oh wow.
Well, and it was funny because we actually had someone that joined us at the Year Shrine, and it was his first investigation. And this guy was loving it. He had he didn't get to see a spirit or, anything like that, but he got to witness hearing footsteps, all the equipment going crazy, the ink box, all the intelligent spirits that were coming through, the responses on the recorders. He loved it, and he went absolutely nuts. He couldn't get enough. He couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, that's what we like.
Yeah, I didn't know he was coming until was it Friday he was there? Yeah, it was Friday. I didn't know he was coming, and until later on, JV was like, "Oh, by the way, we invited one of our friends, so and so. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." I didn't know it was his first investigation though, but he was cool as hell. Very cool. And he brought that energy. See, the spirits love that energy. He brought the energy.
Oh yeah.
They want that. They just look at it like this. Spirits are how you are now is how you're going to be if you're a spirit who's still here lingering around. Okay. If you're an angry person, you're going to be an angry spirit. If you're a bubbly, happy, go person, you're going to be like this in spirit. And think about how you are now, who you like to talk to, who you want to be around. So if you're a spirit and you got these people coming around, trying to ask you questions, depending on if you were someone who liked to socialize when you were here, or if you were somebody who was antisocial, and you're going to choose if you want to go around someone who's a lot of fun, or if they're just kind of boring, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
like me.
What? You're not boring.
Like me.
You're not boring. But that's kind of like what it is. That's what I've learned anyway. So they choose. If you're boring, they're going to be like, I don't want to go over here, If there's a lot going on over here with these people, they're fun, they're laughing, having a good time. Depending on what type of spirit you're dealing with, they're going to go that direction. And Arthur says you kind of spooked out when you read. Yeah, I don't know if he told you that I gave him a reading when he was sitting next to me.
No.
Yes,
I don't think he did.
Yeah, when you were doing your isolation upstairs, he was sitting next to me, and all of a sudden, his family members started coming through to me, and I'm like, first words out of my mouth was, "You lost a best friend," or something about a friend.
Oh,
you lost a friend.
He did tell me that.
Yeah. And so he was a little freaked out, and he was just like kind of. And the more I kept bringing up his family members, he was like zoning out. It was like, am I hearing this right now?
Yeah. Yeah, he did tell me. I forgot that he told me Tyler. Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that to him, but sometimes when someone's real close to me, I just start channeling and getting all this stuff. Right. And unfortunately, he was sitting right there. And I felt like I needed to say some things to him. So I did. About 20 minutes, I feel like it was. The whole time you were doing your isolation.
Yeah.
But what was your thoughts on that being the first time you ever did the Estes method? What did you think about that?
No, so the Estes method, being somebody who's very fond of the paranormal and watching all these paranormal shows, I never knew anything in Estes Method before. Until I seen it on your channel and I seen it on that 28 Days Haunted. And I was very intrigued with it because I had never thought about using the spirit box in that way. And I think it's one of the most perfect ways to use the spirit box, because in one way you are isolated to just that while everybody else is out asking questions. And when you get intelligent responses like we were getting, it's like, okay, because you're hearing it come straight in. I love the Estes Method now. I think that's one of the best methods you can use in other than EVPs in the paranormal investigations.
That's good. Yeah, I'm really connected to my ink box. I love my ink box. I've had that thing for probably, I want to say 3 years, something like that. And
Yeah.
I've gotten connected with it, and I'm able to hear it really good when it's, when it's on. And you really surprised me because you were like, man, you were hearing exactly what it was saying, and you were like spitting out what it was saying. And not everybody's able to do that when it's on, and you were doing it quick. So
yeah, it's that selective hearing. When you actually turn that selective hearing off and you start hearing everything out, it's like, oh wow, I can hear everything it's saying. Because
yes,
even if it's a radio, I can usually name the song that it was saying, but it was answering in that song form. And I'm like,
well,
that's not that part of the song. Hold on.
but that's what they do. They manipulate the words to the music,
Yeah.
and and that's how they communicate with you through it, by using those words through the songs, picking and choosing the words. That's playing. But I do see people jumping on here. If you haven't already, guys, please do like this video and share it. And make sure you do please hit that like button, because it does help the algorithm. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And it helps get this out there more. And I do appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So on that note, there was something else I wanted to say. I feel like I'm missing something here. Oh, don't forget, when we were down in the basement, we smelt that candy. Do you remember smelling candy in the basement?
Yeah, and the Mark had just got done telling me how that was a candy factory down there.
Yes.
Or not a factory, but a distribution type deal down there. Yeah, I thought that was crazy. It was right after he had just talked to me about that, because I was doing an EVP burst out in the room where the tables were, and you guys were like, "I smell candy."
Yeah, dude, it smelled like Fruit Loops.
Right. Yeah.
To me, it was like, I think that was like some type of residual energy we were definitely getting. I mean, it was so strong, and I was like, I have never smelt that down in this basement before, or anywhere in that bar, because I've been there investigating 3 times now, and we've never smelt that. So that was interesting to me.
Yeah. So there was the hunting cameras, the trail cameras that I had.
Yes. So what did you get?
I've got to send you the video or the photos that it took. It took 143 photos,
Oh my God.
143 photos. And just being a little 20 megapixel camera on there, it caught everything, and it gives you a time lapse. I could tell you the degree difference between everything. There was at one point, within the first 2 hours, it was 79 degrees down there. 4 minutes after we had or 4 minutes into it, we were walking downstairs, and I followed the laps, and it dropped down to 68 degrees. So it dropped 11 degrees by the time the last person hit the last stairs. And then as soon as everybody went up, the temperature went back up, which is weird. Usually the temperature would go up when we're down there. It was going down while we were down there. The trail camera, I didn't expect everything that I found on there. We didn't get anything that I would consider paranormal, because it captured every piece of dust.
Yes. Yeah.
So great. And there was a lot of dust down there. but I have 2 of those, and I think that is going to start being a trademark for the 13th Paranormal to start using, because I've never seen somebody use a trail camera before.
I have
Oh,
I
yeah?
can't there was other teams I've there's been a couple teams that I've been out in the field with that had actually used those, but I don't know how often they're using them. But I know I do recall one or two times being out in the field that someone had one of those,
Oh, okay.
and but not
Yeah,
recently. I haven't heard of anyone using them. So, and this would
yeah,
have
and they're
been a long
night
time
vision,
ago.
so that's even better.
And it is a really good idea too. So,
Yeah. It was
and
like having still photography down there,
and
because
that's good.
it captured everything. When somebody would walk in front of it, it clicked, and you captured everything around it, almost to the back wall, and it was in
And
the
the,
boiler room.
and yeah, speaking of that boiler room, I thought it was interesting that soon as Mark entered the room, well, I didn't even know Mark had entered the room. The
No.
spirit box goes, Mark. And
Yeah,
I was like, oh, Mark. And they said, yeah, that's my dad. He's here. I'm like, what? I
yeah,
didn't even see the guy standing there. I didn't know he was with us because it was pitch dark. And soon as he walked up to us, that spirit called his name out.
yeah, yeah,
That is an intelligent spirit.
they had some, uh interesting things to say about, the renovations, and when you asked it, are you how do you feel, or do you like what's going on here? And they were like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, well,
I
that tells you."
know. The spirits, and it could have been just one of the spirits that had owned it from a long time ago. You never know. And you got to think about spirits coming from across the street, spirits coming from next door. I mean, that ink box, it picks up on a mile radius. So
Yeah.
that's why I mentioned when we were live that I got to try to figure out, if it's coming from this place that we're at, or is it other spirits coming from other locations? So,
Right.
but to get that clear response of Mark, that was in the spell that told me that spirit was right there with us. He
Especially since
definitely
I didn't even
was.
know he was there. And he was standing, "Hey, I'm Mark." I was like, "Oh, well, it just said your name, dude." Now,
Yeah,
when you've investigated there in the past, was it in the shape that it was in when we went?
it was still the running bar. Like we would be waiting on the people to leave to get their asses out of the bar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We're like, come on, man. We're
Yeah,
ready to investigate. And
right.
we would go in there and there'd be like 3 or 4 people lingering around the bar and they'd be like, oh, drinking and they'd be like, oh, you guys are those ghost hunters. And I'm like, yeah, we're about to investigate this bar, blah, blah, blah. And we'd be just waiting on the bar to close and these people to go. So yeah, it totally does not look the same as it did. And
Okay.
I didn't even know the winery existed over there, which it didn't at the time, but I guess it was a storage unit over there. Never knew that it existed. We never went back there to investigate. So it was definitely weird. But when
Yeah.
you start doing remodeling a place, you're going to kick up that energy. You can even piss off spirits when you're doing that. Some of them don't like it.
Right.
And it can get even more active in a location when someone starts to do all that remodeling and they're doing really intense remodeling to the location.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
we did our haunted tour there yesterday with a big group of people. And before we began the tour, the owners were telling me, this is weird, dude. They were telling me that ever since we were there and investigated, for some reason, they've been seeing these huge, huge swarm of flies that are all over in the basement, coming out of nowhere. And they've been coming up to the bar, just big circles of these swarms of these big, huge flies. I said, She goes, we never had that until you guys investigated.
Maybe the birds were slamming themselves against the wall.
Maybe there was something down there that's dead or something. I don't know, but that was weird when they told me that.
Yeah, that is weird.
I said, I don't think it had anything to do with us. I said, I've investigated this place before. Never had that problem.
Right.
So
Hmm.
I don't know. Weird stuff.
Could be that
But
cistern if it has still water in it,
yeah.
something
Oh
dead
yeah.
in it. Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. But they weren't there when we were investigating, so
No.
I don't recall there being swarms of bugs. There might have been a few bugs flying around, but that's typical, you know. But
Yeah. I didn't
they
see
were
any.
saying they said there's a whole swarm of them now, and
Hmm.
they had to try to kill them all because you know they didn't want all that going on during the tour.
Did you have your equipment out for that?
Yes, yes,
Anything?
yes. We had some voices coming through the ink box. The cat ball was lighting up like crazy on the bar.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
where for us was the bar that one time.
Yeah. Well, when we were there, the cat ball only lit up one time. But last night when I was there, it just kept going crazy. It wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so good because we had about 30 people in this room and you know, everybody's in the dark and everybody's quiet and everybody's waiting on something. And I
Yeah.
was just grateful that Spirit lit up the ball.
Yeah.
So they loved it, you know, because it could have been crickets. You never know. You don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
So anyway, uh where do you see you guys doing? What is your guys' next adventure from here?
Hell yeah. Man. Hmm. We haven't discussed it. We haven't discussed it. Arthur's working that weird schedule also. You know, I'm off every Saturday and Sunday, so I've got to find a weekend when he's off. Um, we'd like to do the Rhodes Hotel.
Oh, been
Uh,
there.
we'd really like to do Post Town. Like I said, that's right there is just a bucket list. Um, we have a Sorg mansion here in Middletown, Ohio. It's been up for I want to say since 1800s, and right across the street from it is the Sorg Opera House. At one time, it was inoperable and closed
I've been
down.
there. I've been there.
Really, to
Very
the
active.
Opera House? Yeah. So I think
My
that's
friend
where
used
we're
to
going
run
to
it.
be next. Really?
I'm pretty sure it's the one that my friend used to run, and I got in free with her because she was like one of the caretakers, and it was just her and I at that place, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's something I would like to do. I know Arthur's got a connection out in Dayton at a haunted attraction that we were going to do before haunt season started, but we ended up getting something. Uh, yeah, we haven't talked about that one yet.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, but there's a haunted attraction out there that he knows the owner of that we might be looking into within the next couple weeks because I know haunt season is up at least for land next weekend or this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we should be able to do that. I know we want to do some graveyards in the daytime just to show the viewers that these spirits aren't only active at night. The only
No.
reason why people think it's at night is because the ambient noise is way low. Definitely want to do some daytime things. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we have some theories as to why I like. For me, I think if you were to die as an old person, you were getting up at 4:30 in the morning, having your cup of coffee before you went to work. I feel like if you die, that you're still going to be in that cycle, right? So I think there's spirits, something spiritual or something paranormal is happening 24/7, and we definitely want to catch it during the daytime to show people that hey, we don't have to do it just at night.
I think there's different phases that the spirits go through in the spirit world. So there might be some that are doing the same thing that they did over and over and that repeated cycle. Some people believe that they are still, spirits are still working. I don't know how true this is, but you
Right.
know, but it, and like you said, someone getting up doing the same thing they did every day. And to me, that could be the case, but that could also be a residual thing, because if
Yeah.
you've got a spirit doing the same thing at the same time over and over, that is definitely, in my opinion, residual. Just like
Yeah.
you see
That's
some
what
people
Brett had
say,
said.
yeah. And that is just like when someone says, oh, the lady in white, she's on the stairs and she's seen at this time on the stairs all the time at this certain time. That is a residual. If you're seeing the lady in white at that time every night, then that's something residual that's showing up.
Yeah.
So there is different things that, you know, spirits are doing this, spirits are doing that. That's what we're out to do, you know, try to get these answers from these spirits. And it's so different. You got to come up with different things. And it's kind of weird. You're out there talking and people don't see what you see or hear what you hear. And some people might get weirded out when they're out there investigating, because it's like you're talking to thin air. So
Yeah.
you got, you know, you got to kind of get used to that vibe, just talking, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. As long as you don't answer yourself back, it is completely normal to talk to nothing.
looks like, Arthur's wanting to come on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell him to, yeah, go ahead. If you can hear me, go ahead. I sent you the link earlier too. So yeah, you can come on. But yeah, I can't wait for him to come on. I want to hear his what he thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like when we go to Missouri this weekend with Paranormal Reality TV, I've actually had stuff happen to me there during the day.
That's a
And
whole
I've got,
village you're going to, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And I actually have something caught on a recorder that I didn't know was going to happen, and it was at this location, and it was loud, and I'm talking. There's an angry spirit there, and his last name's Leach, and Mr. Leach can be very, very angry, and yeah, and if he don't want you there, you're going to know it. Okay, here's Arthur. We're bringing on Arthur, guys.
Hey guys.
Look at you.
Yeah. I'm at work.
I see.
So how you guys doing? I've been watching.
Yeah,
You're not working.
Not working yet, no.
Hey, now, you want to tell us what you thought of the your first time being on an investigation?
Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. And like Andrew said, I was completely terrified the whole entire time. And I'm like Andrew. I wanted a little more, but I look at it as, you know, we got it underneath our belt, and the amount of the enthusiasm and the amount of just like there is more fear coming from me than anything, but I hold it very well. But it was definitely interesting. I loved it.
What did you think of the Estes method?
So bravos to Andrew. I kind of regret not doing it because I think it would have been absolutely hilarious, but good content in a way for me to go up there.
You did
Because
do
I
that.
am. Oh, see, I get all of them
Not
all mixed up.
isolation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yes. So that was so strange to me because it was hard for me to hear stuff at first. But I think once I went back through your guys' live video on YouTube, that's when it like got to me. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of weird. That's kind of strange. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, you had some family members coming through that ink box.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of strange because like when I talk about like my mom and stuff, it's really hard for me to talk about because it was so like random for me. And it got to the point where it's like, all right, I'm not necessarily getting kind of spooked out, but I don't know if I can do this any longer. Because like once my family members start getting involved, once my family members start getting sorry, it's one of my workers. Once my family members start getting involved, that's when I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can. I'm gonna back out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't soon after that. He was like, okay, here you go.
That was cool though. It was really neat and it was
Yeah.
really interesting. And I'm always down to do it again, even though I'm scared.
So Andrew was telling me that you had described a man down in the basement that had the same hat on of the guy that I was seeing.
Yeah, I thought that was really strange. The first time I seen it,
On
him,
the
her, or
fourth floor.
whoever it was, I thought I seen something, and I think I still think I seen something, but it was like from my peripherals of when like I'll turn and like it's like he was standing there in the back in the basement, but I wasn't quite too sure yet. But when I saw it again when we went down the second time, and then I knew it wasn't. I thought there was a doorway at the end of that hallway or wherever that was, but there wasn't. It was pictures. But since the light was playing with me, I didn't. I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting. The mass was definitely dark.
Mm,
It's real dark.
yeah. Well, your mind can play tricks on you too, but a lot of people will see things out of their peripheral, and that's a lot of times when people say they see something, dark, shadow figures and things.
Yeah.
So, but it is an active location. I have no doubt that you probably did see something. You were pretty freaked out. You scared the shit out of me, dude. And
I'm sorry.
I was like, what? Because you it was like so real. You legit, you seen something. I can sense the fear off of you.
Well,
Something.
at first I thought it was the gentleman that was walking around with us with the long hair, but it was like that man that I've seen was a lot taller, and he was just leaning against the doorway. But it happened so quick, and it startled me, and the fear came out, and I couldn't hold it back. So that's what my reaction was, like Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh. Trust me, I'm like that too out there. I get jumpy. I freak out, So there's nothing to be ashamed about that. It just happens. It is
I'm
what
not
it is.
I'm not afraid to show my fear, but I try to keep it as calm as I can.
You were definitely feeling stuff because the whole time we're walking around, you're like, man, it's heavy in here. You're like, it's heavy.
The as soon as I walked in there, just in the actual hall itself, I didn't really feel anything. But as soon as I went downstairs in the basement, that's when I started to feel like dry air. It was kind of chilly, but I know how like old cellars are; they're chilly and stuff. But it wasn't that type of chilly. It was more like goosebump chills.
Mhm.
And it was definitely undescribable on how I was feeling. Like my anxiety immediately started kicking in.
Did you feel like somebody was watching you?
I felt like
Yeah.
yeah, in a way I did. But I also felt like I had weight on my shoulders. Like I was getting pressed to the ground.
Like somebody's hovering over you?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know if it has to do with the fact of like where the location was or, my book bag, but it definitely didn't feel like it just felt like I was just like slouching a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. And then I felt welcomed. So that's what I felt good about.
I didn't pick up on anything negative really there. Maybe a little angry, but
Yeah.
no.
That was
You
pretty
know,
nice. I enjoyed every moment of it.
not bad for your first investigation.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think with what we got and what we captured, I thought, yes, I wish there was more. And I think that goes with anybody. I wish I had more. But what we got was it definitely boosted up my percentage on believing the paranormal.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to tell you that we have a lot of investigations in our hometown coming up, and like new ones that I haven't even posted about, and I'm waiting to
Cool.
do it.
I'm looking
And
forward to it.
And I was going to invite you guys because My sisters can't always come with me, and I'll either be stuck going alone, which I don't have a problem. If I got to, I'll go. But I'll invite you guys if you guys can come along.
Yeah, absolutely. It all depends on what my work schedule is because I work the lovely swing shift life. It's the joys of being a paper maker. But I know once November kicks in, that's our slow season, and then we'll go from 7 days to 5 days a week again.
I have a lot of new locations coming up in November. Yeah, and I'm probably going to be booking for December too because I'm getting hit hard in my hometown. Locations that's not been investigated before.
Awesome.
And so, so I would like to take you guys on one more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be new to me, so I don't know what to expect. So
I think that's the best part. Absolutely, the best part is the unknown.
So definitely, but I had a really great time with you guys. I really did, and
Likewise.
You guys did.
Absolutely.
You guys did a really good job. You went in. Your vibrations were like really high, like your energy level. You were like bringing in that good energy. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I know we both enjoyed ourselves because Andrew and I don't really get to hang out with each other a lot. It's usually just over like this. But it was just nice to connect more with him and to get our name out there as much as we can. And to meet you guys was definitely a checklist on our bucket list. So it's like the more the merrier, and we could not be any more happier on doing this investigation with you guys, and honestly looking forward into the future of doing more with you guys.
Yes, you'll have to meet my baby sister.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't
number
can't
3. So, the wild one. But I do want to ask you guys, what is this? What type of spirit boxes are you guys going to be using out there in the field? And what is your thoughts on these the apps, the phone apps?
I'm kind of skeptical about applications because, like the Spirit Talker, some of it sounds. Now, I want to say it's a coincidental thing. Now, if it does it repeatedly over and over again, then I'm kind of convinced. But phone applications are so hard for me to believe because it's a phone app. You know, somebody created this. Now, if it's like that little box that you had when we were in the hall
The
before
intercom
I scared,
box?
Obvious.
yeah, but before I scared the shit out of you, yeah, I think that's a little bit more reliable than an actual application.
Yeah.
Spirit box wise, I want to look into the polter box that Zach and then just started using because it's unique. But again, I know it's going to be pricey. I know it's going to be pricey. But
they all are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but we end up we plan with the spirit box alone. We plan on spending the money on because I know the cheaper ones are just not it. We have heard from many investigators like, hey, it's $90, don't use it. It's like, okay, So yeah, I definitely want to. I want to do more research on the polter box that you got. There's another one that I want to look into, but I can't remember what it's called right now.
Well, my friend Sean Austin, the last time I did an investigation with him was in my hometown, Marion, and we were at one of the old bars in Marion and the brewing company. And Sean has a new device that he was using, and he had it straps around your arm, and it's able to, as it's sweeping through the stations, it records everything. And he was like stopping it, rewinding it, going back and playing what we were hearing. So that was really interesting. I don't know. I'll have to message him because that is something I want to look into.
Yeah,
I really want to get in. I really want to try to get into like the thermal cameras also. I think those are really cool to use. I've been looking at a few. Right now, my biggest project for myself is to get an actual digital camera Because like one, I just love taking photos and editing photos. And two, it would just look, the quality itself would look, I mean, I don't mind recording off my phone, and my phone does put out like good quality, but I'm just one of those guys that just wants more. I want to be a little bit better than what I was before.
Yeah.
So like hopefully by like, January or before January, I'll have enough like stabilized money that I can get myself a camera, and so we can actually use that in our investigations.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It definitely is. Oh hell, there was something I was gonna say. Oh, our the XLS camera we have, it has those. I'm pretty sure it has that thermal image built
Yeah.
into it. And
Yeah, I thought that's pretty cool.
yeah, so I plan on using it in Missouri. So yeah.
Cool. Now, are you guys are going live with Paranormal Reality TV, or are you going
Yeah.
live through your Facebook or
Oh.
Paranormal Reality TV?
No, we're filming with Paranormal Reality TV.
Cool.
So
Cool.
which is awesome. I don't have, I'm hands free, so I don't have to.
That's nice.
It is nice, and Chastity's been so spoiled by it. You might have heard her say something about it. She's like, oh, because we got used to these guys doing it all, and it is nice. You don't have to, they're watching our comments and they're doing it all. We just gotta investigate and
See, and I think that's great, and that's what I wanted to try to do last weekend up in Marion, because I have a buddy that runs a podcast called The Great American Creep Show, and he is a photographer and a videographer, and he really wanted to tag along, but he made plans that he forgot about, and I think that would have helped us out a lot, including helping you guys out, because he's really skeptical. Like, he does not believe in it at all. And I'm like, we did a podcast. Well, I did a podcast with him. And ever since I left his house, he said weird things have just been happening. And I said, good, dude, you deserve it, because this stuff is real.
Oh, heck. That's good.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully in the near future, we'll get him involved more with us and to see the eyes of paranormal investigators, and I think it would help so much.
Yeah, I think it would. So, I will reach out to you guys again on. I've got a lot coming up, so I'll reach out to you, and we'll see if we can compare the dates, and you guys can come join us and be the first to tackle these new locations that I got, because I got a lot of them.
Awesome. Well, I so sorry that I had to come in late. I work.
Oh, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You jumped on, and that's perfectly fine.
Awesome.
So,
well, I appreciate it.
Do you guys have anything you want to say? Tell everybody where they can follow you, watch you.
Well, definitely follow us on the Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the major platforms. The 13th Podcast. And then we are also on YouTube as the 13th Paranormal. And we do, honestly, weekly episodes about paranormal, aliens, anything that involves the unknown. We are the 13th Podcast.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to add to that, Andrew?
I'm good. Like I said, I was very grateful for being invited to come out there and investigate. It's definitely one for the books for us under our belt. And we look forward to doing future investigations with you guys.
We're going to get some more underneath your belt.
Cool.
All right, guys. All right, so there you have it. Have fun at work, Arthur.
I won't.
You only got a couple more hours.
I know. I'll see you later, Andrew.
All right,
I gotta go. Hey, we got a break. See ya.
Look, he's cracking me up.
He is something else.
He is. He was excited. I'm glad he did get to jump on. He was wanting to jump on.
Yeah.
I felt bad that I couldn't. I just jumping on at 11, and it's like, whew, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I stay
late.
late.
We're late nighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually up till 4 or 5 in the morning.
What the hell?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now, if I'm investigating, I will be out late like that if everyone will keep going. Some people don't like to go that late.
We're down with that.
I have went that late. But But when I'm here, I usually just stay up till I watch a lot of scary movies and stuff. So I'm up till like midnight, and then I start getting tired because I get up in the morning and I got to go work out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
we're
got.
usually up all night, and then we get up at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and then we start our day all over again. Yeah, but I work till 4:30 in the morning, so I have to stay up. So me.
I could tell that when we were investigating, I didn't get that vibe you were ready to leave. I felt like you could have stayed a little longer.
Oh yeah, we were definitely down to stay longer. He was like, "Man, I want to stay till past the witching hour." I was like, "It's we got it done, dude. It's all good. We'll get that."
Uh-huh. Well, all right, man. I think we're going to close this down. Again, guys, I will be live tomorrow with Victor Santiago. Hope I'm saying that correctly. I will share that podcast over here on Ghost Sisters. I'll be doing a podcast show with him tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, all right, guys, I'm ghosting out.
All right, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
You too, Andrew. We'll see you.